What would you do if the person everyone laughed at was the only one who could save everything? At midnight, while the city slept, Daniel Carter pushed a cleaning cart through the empty halls of a glass skyscraper. He was not supposed to be noticed. He was just the night cleaner. A tired single father with old shoes, a faded jacket, and a photo of his little daughter tucked inside his wallet. Every night, Daniel cleaned the offices of Harrington Tech, one of the most powerful companies in the country. The company belonged to Victoria Harrington, a billionaire CEO known for her cold personality and impossible standards. People feared her. Employees whispered that she never smiled, never forgave mistakes, and never cared about anyone beneath her. To Victoria, Daniel was invisible. Until one night, everything changed. The company was preparing for the biggest investor presentation of the year. A deal worth $2 billion depended on it. But just hours before the meeting, the main security system crashed. Files were locked. Screens went black. The engineers panicked. Executives shouted at each other. Victoria arrived in a black suit, furious. "What do you mean the system is down?" she asked coldly. One engineer lowered his head. "We do not know what happened. We need more time." Victoria's face turned pale. "There is no more time. The investors arrive in 6 hours." Everyone froze. In the corner of the room, Daniel was quietly emptying a trash bin. One of the executives saw him and snapped, "You, get out. This is not a place for cleaners." Daniel turned to leave. But then he noticed something on one of the monitors, a line of code, a small error, something familiar. He stopped. Softly, he said, "That is not a full system failure." Everyone turned to him. Victoria narrowed her eyes. "Excuse me." Daniel hesitated. "It looks like a corrupted access loop. If you reset the backup path manually, the system might come back." The room went silent. Then one man laughed. "You clean floors. Do not pretend to understand cybersecurity." A few people chuckled. Daniel looked down, embarrassed. Victoria stared at him with cold eyes. "And how would you know that?" Daniel swallowed. "I used to work in systems architecture." The laughter stopped. Victoria looked at him again, this time more carefully, but the head engineer shook his head. "With all respect, ma'am, we cannot let a cleaner touch company servers." Daniel stepped back. "I understand." But then every screen in the room flashed red. The system was getting worse. Victoria had no choice. She looked at Daniel and said, "You have 10 minutes." Daniel walked to the computer. His hands were shaking, not because he was scared of the system, but because everyone in the room was waiting for him to fail. He typed quickly. The engineers watched in disbelief. 5 minutes passed, then 8. Suddenly, one screen turned back on, then another, then all of them. The files returned. The presentation was saved. The room erupted in shock. Victoria stared at the screens, speechless. Daniel stepped away quietly and said, "It should hold now." Before anyone could thank him, he picked up his cleaning cart and walked out. But Victoria followed him. "Wait," she said. Daniel stopped. "Why are you working as a cleaner if you can do that?" she asked. Daniel looked at the floor. "Because people do not hire men with gaps in their resume." Victoria's expression changed. Daniel continued, "My wife died 2 years ago. My daughter got sick after that. I left my job to take care of her. When I tried to come back, no one wanted me, so I took whatever work I could find." For the first time, Victoria had no sharp reply. The next morning, the investor meeting began. The room was filled with powerful people in expensive suits. Victoria stood on stage and began her presentation. Everything worked perfectly. The investors were impressed. The deal was saved. But at the end, Victoria did something no one expected. She said, "Before we close, there is someone I need to acknowledge." The doors opened. Daniel walked in wearing his cleaner's uniform. People whispered. Some executives looked uncomfortable. Victoria continued, "Last night, while some of the highest-paid people in this building failed to find the problem, this man solved it." Daniel froze. Victoria looked at him. Daniel Carter saved this company from losing a $2 billion deal. The room went silent. Then slowly, people began to clap. Daniel's eyes filled with tears. But Victoria was not finished. She turned to the board and said, "As of today, Daniel is no longer part of the cleaning staff. One executive frowned. "What are you saying?" Victoria said. "I am offering him the position of senior systems consultant." Everyone gasped. Daniel shook his head. "Miss Harrington, I do not have the clothes, the reputation, or the connections for this world." Victoria walked closer to him. "You have something more important," she said. "You have the ability." For the first time in years, Daniel smiled. Weeks passed. Daniel started his new job. At first, people doubted him. Some still whispered behind his back. But every time a problem appeared, Daniel solved it. Slowly, the same people who mocked him began asking for his help. Victoria also changed. She started noticing the people she used to ignore: the cleaners, the drivers, the assistants, the security guards. One evening, she found Daniel sitting alone in the office, looking at a drawing from his daughter. "She made that?" Victoria asked. Daniel smiled. "Yes, she said this is me saving a castle." Victoria looked at the drawing and whispered, "Maybe she is right." A month later, Victoria visited the hospital where Daniel's daughter was being treated. Daniel was shocked to see her there. Victoria handed him an envelope. Inside was a letter confirming that the company would cover his daughter's medical treatment. Daniel's voice broke. "Why would you do this?" Victoria looked at him gently. "Because last month, I saw a man everyone underestimated save my company. Now let me help save what matters most to him." Daniel's eyes filled with tears. 4 years, he had fought alone. For the first time, someone powerful stood beside him. Months later, Harrington Tech launched a new program to hire skilled workers who had been rejected because of poverty, illness, family struggles, or gaps in employment. Victoria named Daniel as the director. At the opening event, Daniel stood on stage, no longer in a cleaneress uniform, but in a simple suit. He looked at the crowd and said, "Sometimes life pushes you so low that people stop seeing who you are, but your worth does not disappear just because the world stops looking." Victoria watched from the front row, proud. Daniel continued, "I was never just a cleaner. I was a father trying to survive. And sometimes, the person cleaning the room is the one who knows how to fix it." The room stood and applauded. And Victoria finally understood something money had never taught her. A person's value is not measured by their job title. Because sometimes, the person everyone looks down on is the one holding the key to saving everything. Ending question: would you have trusted Daniel with the company system? Or would you have judged him by his uniform too? Write your opinion in the comments.